In this video, I'm going to be sharing a few tips on the Divi framework. So let's dive in and let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is if you haven't updated to the Divi latest framework, which is 5.1.6, the best thing to do is to head over here to this link. Now, if you have purchased SiteKrafter, you are going to be able to see this code. So as you can see, this is 9 February 2025. So in the future, if you have already installed SiteKrafter on your website, all you need to do is to go ahead to this link, copy the code, and then go to your website, which is already running SiteKrafter Divi framework. Head over here to the bottom where it says Divi and then click on theme options. Okay, next you want to scroll all the way down here and delete this code that you have right now, like that, unless of course you've updated it. But if you haven't touched it, then you want to go ahead and paste what we've just copied, and then all you have to do is to click on save. Now this has now the latest CSS code for our framework. Okay, so let's dive in now and let's get started, and I'll show you some quick tips. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when working with SiteKrafter is you want to make note of this page called framework. So this is where you're going to get all your framework code. So for example, SK content, this is where you get it, and it is well labeled for general fluid text. You can click on that and you can see all your text and so on. Okay, so once you've established that, that you have access to this page, the next step now is to make sure that all your text on your website is fluid and responsive, and this can be activated in a very easy step. So let's go ahead and do that. So here I have a blank page. So what I'm going to do is to go ahead and add a bit of text in this section. So I'm going to search for my text module here and select it. So as you can see here, I have my text, but if we want this to be fluid across the whole website, what you need to do is to head over here to advanced CSS ID and classes, and then set your class to SK. So this is going to enable your fonts on your whole website to be fluid. But right now what I've done is I've activated it on this particular paragraph, but you want it across the whole website. So what you need to do is to head over here to your preset, right click, and then go all the way down and say apply styles to active preset. Okay, and then click on yes, and then pretty much you are good to go. So whatever text you're going to be adding onto your website is going to have fluid text. So let's go ahead and add our text again, like that. And now you can see that it has pretty much the right size. And also, if I were to change this to a heading, notice what happens. It is going to update, and this is all fluid. Now, we might as well test this because you may be thinking maybe it might not be fluid. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to exit the Visual Builder for now. I'm just going to drag the side here of my browser, and as you can see, everything is all fluid and the size changes with the screen size. Okay, so the next part now is, let's say you want to create a specific heading. Now for this example, we're going to be taking a look at this one right here, which is PayPal. So we want to have this large text here, which says smart trusted payment solutions built for growth. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that, and we want to replicate that design over here. So we're going to again enable the Visual Builder. So as you can see, this text that we've just activated here is heading 1. So this definitely wouldn't work. So let's just get rid of all this and I'll show you what I mean. All right, so let's say, for example, we paste our text in here. I'm just going to make sure that I don't have my tag there for heading 1. All right, so this is the text that we need to apply our design to. So if we highlight this and set this to heading 1, this is far from what we have over here, as you can see. So what we need to do is we need to just, in fact, let me undo this. So what we need to do now is to head over to our framework. So on our framework here, you notice that we have all custom fluid headings. Okay, so this is where really we want to be. So we have our heading large, heading extra large, heading XX large. Okay. So let's start with our heading extra large here. Maybe this could be the size that we need. So I've just copied that. And then now I'm going to come over here to advanced CSS ID and classes, and I'm going to paste it like that. So we are getting somewhere now, because as you can see, this is much bigger than what we had before, which is great. So what I'm going to do next now is to make sure that this is bold. So I'm going to type in BOLD for bold, and right away you can see now we have some bold text. Now if you want to make it extra bold, you can just add your X for extra bold, and if you want your heading to be larger than that, you just add another X, and you can see now that it is really, really big. Oh, there we go. We even have XXX large. All right, so now we have really massive text, and I'm pretty sure it's quite close to what we have here. Okay, the next thing we need to do now is to center this, because right now it's aligned left. So let's just type in center, and now everything is all centered. If you're wondering where I'm getting all these codes, these are from our framework here. So if we go to general fluid text, you notice that we have our extra small text and so on. And then on our fluid text here, we also have text align center, which is what I've just used. So this is where you would find all these. Okay, so for the font weight, remember I went in and added bold. Well, these are our font weights. So we have medium, semi-bold, and so on. Okay, great. So now that we have this first part done, the next part now is this basic description here. So we're going to copy that, and we are going to also add it onto our site. So I'm just going to save this, click on this plus button, add my text module like that. And I'm just going to replace this, making sure it doesn't bring my CSS code over. There we go. And then I'm going to either center it from here, or I can enter my CSS to center it. So now that I have this, as we're looking at this, we can see that the size is not what we need. So we're going to come over here to general fluid text, and I'm going to go with text medium. Okay, it's because I think this is much bigger, or slightly bigger than our normal text. So I'm going to copy that, and then over here I'm going to go to advanced CSS ID and classes, and I'm going to add it here, and I'm going to make sure my SK is there. Okay, so text medium seems to be fine, but if you want to increase it, you may say, okay, why not go with large? Do we have text large? Let me just double check. Okay, we have text large. So what this is doing now is it's saving me from going to my builder and setting my sizes manually. So all this is done, and pretty much I'm achieving this just by using my CSS code. All right, so moving on. Next, we also need to add our button. So let me just search for my button module, and here we go. All right, so let's just center this. So like that. All right, so I think we've got everything that we need so far. So I'm just going to take a look at this now and say, okay, the sizing that we have here, that's pretty much medium and maybe large. Okay, so I'm going to say margin top dash top, and this is going to be medium. Okay, like that. And I'm going to move on to the next one, which is my paragraph text here. And again, I'm going to come over here and make sure that this is set to, instead of medium, I'm going to go for small. Okay, because these two are pretty much grouped. Then I'm going to save that. So as you can see here now, I have designed my main heading, but I haven't used my heading text to achieve this, because as you can see here, our heading text is very limited, heading 1. So let's exit the Visual Builder now and take a look at our final design. Of course, I'll need to add color to that button. So now when I make it smaller, you can see that it is fluid, okay? Without me actually going to the builder itself and setting all my breakpoints. All right, so that's number one. The next thing I want to talk about is, let's say you have some paragraph text that you need to add to your website. This could be maybe terms of conditions and so on. I'm just going to go to Lorem 2 here to get some dummy text. So let's say this is the text that we need to use on our site. I'm going to copy that, and then back over here, I'm just going to add a new paragraph, and let's start off. In fact, let me add a new section. I think that will be better. And then we're going to go in and add our text. But before we add our text, let me first add my image so my design looks much better and also makes sense. All right, so I've got my image here. I'm just going to go to my library and choose my image. I'm going to go with that one. Let me just get myself out of the way. Click on upload image. Great. So I have my image. I know it's way too big here, but anyways, now that I have my image, let's go and add a bit of text in here. So I'm going to search for my text module and select it. All right. So as we look at this already, we can see that we have a massive problem because our text here is spanning across the whole site. Okay, now this is not optimal for users to read because we need some characters here. I think maximum is about 60 characters, which is ideal for visitors to your website to read, because right now, if you're going to be reading all the way to the end there, it's straining. Ideally, you want to be using the default text when you are, maybe when you have, let's say, a row, which is split into two. So in fact, you know what, let me just get rid of this image here. It's not doing much. So let's say you've got text which goes into a split section like that, or a split row, then this would work fine. But if the text is spanning across the whole site, then this wouldn't work great. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. So to fix this issue, we also have a solution here. So I'm going to come over here to my settings, advanced, and then I'm going to go to classes. So what you want to do now is to enter sk-content. Okay, so you can see now it has made everything smaller, and this is optimal for your visitors to your site to read. It's easy on the eye, and you don't have to go in and mess around with widths and so on. So now that I have this, of course, it's not centered. So what you want to do now is to come over here to design, and then we're going to go to sizing. And what I noticed is if you just move this to, let's say, 99% and then click on the module alignment, this will now align everything right bang in the center. So now your text is optimal for reading. Okay, so this is ideally what you want to do. So this could be your terms and conditions page. It could be any bunch of text, even your blog posts. I mean, if you look at blog posts, they shouldn't be, really wide because it's not optimal for your readers to read. Okay, so now that we have this, the next step is to take a look and see what else we can add here. So let's go back to our framework. So over here, as I'm looking at this, we have quite a few things that we can also add. We also have our font weight. Okay, we also have our custom headings and notices. So at any point, if you want to add a notice to your site, so let's add some text here like that. Let's say you want to add a notice. Here's what you need to do. You'd come over here to advanced. This is ID and classes. So you need to decide what it is. Is it maybe an error? So if it's an error, you just need to do that. And notice what has happened here. Our text here has been configured. And all I have to do if I need it centered is to come over here to my sizing and just make sure that it is centered. Okay, like that. And if you want to add margin to the top, you can just go ahead and do that by coming back over here and then saying margin dash top dash small. If it's medium, you want it nice and big, you can say medium like that. Or if you want it larger, you can just call it large like that. So this will be your error message. Or if it's, let's say, a warning, you can just come over here and that's your warning. If we come back over here on the framework, this is where our notices are. So we have our warning, error, we have success, and we also have notice. So if you want a success one, these are all based on color, by the way. So if anything is in that color, you know that it is successful. So these are really good notices on your site. In fact, I need to add my SK back on there, and pretty much we are good to go. So these are the quick tips that I have for you if you are using the Divi framework, SiteKrafter. Now this is going to be updated regularly, but what is important here is to really make SiteKrafter easier to use in terms of design, and also making sure that your design process is very, very easy. So as you can see here in this example, if at any point you want to go in and change this, you don't have to go in and start going into the builder and then start making all your changes here on your text sizes. Okay, there's no need to do that. Everything is done over here in the framework. Okay, so let's say you want to bring it down a little bit. Boom, just like that. The size is a bit smaller now. Okay. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you do find any bugs or any errors, please do let me know so I can continuously update this. Hopefully very, very soon, this is going to be 100% ready for Divi 5, as Divi 5 is going through all their bug fixes. If you haven't purchased this, the link to that is also in the video description below. There's a 40% discount. So this is an introductory pricing. So once this is solid and is working flawlessly, the price is going to go up. So if you lock yourself in, then pretty much you are good to go. And this also gives you access to the Divi University a lifetime membership, which means the courses that I'll be doing, web design using Divi, will all be absolutely free for you. You don't need to pay any extra, and anything else I'm going to be building, be it, say, all the child themes, they're also going to be free to you because you've purchased the SiteKrafter framework. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.